Hi, I'm Krista.
And I'm Sarah.
And we have this podcast called Have We Talked About? Where two friends at different points in their lives chat about everything in their lives.
From current events to pop culture, from self-care to self-indulgence, and everything in between.
Join us weekly to see what we talk about next. Hey girl, hey.
Hey, new week, new podcast episode.
New me.
How excited are you?
I'm excited. I'm super excited actually about this topic because I feel like it's near and dear to my heart.
And me, on the other hand, I am super nervous, creeped out, scared to talk about this, but let's do it. What are we chatting about today, Krista?
What we're going to talk about today is the paranormal, I guess. That's the overarching umbrella, but scary things, which relates to my favorite genre of film, which is horror. So all of the unknowns, ghostly and otherwise, culty and otherwise, that basically freak us out at night. I'm all over that today.
Yikes. I am terrified. So to start off from the top, do you believe in paranormal, ghosts, spirits, all the above?
You took my one question. That's the only thing I prepped for today. Just kidding. I believe in ghosts. I have had my own ghost encounters.
Share.
I feel like I've shared this before with you. I definitely shared it with people in the office before. So I'll share two different things. I'll share three different things. So the house that I grew up in, that my mom still lives in, does have interesting activity that goes on in that house. Not on a regular basis, but there is a ghost that lives in there that I have not seen yet.
Is it a nice ghost or is it a not nice ghost?
The ghost is non-verbal as far as I know. It's only been seen, so it's a neutral ghost. It's not. Well, no, okay. You know what? I would say it's a good ghost, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, good. Okay.
My mom is the only one who's seen this ghost. She says it's an old man, a tall, thin old man, who has striped socks, which is very definitive, right? And she says he just walks the hallway, like across, that goes from the dining room, the kitchen, to the family room, and it's the hallway that's right in front of the door to the basement. And you know, my mom is a good storyteller, so I took everything that she said with a grain of salt. But my nephew, my sister's middle son, had an encounter with said same ghost.
Oh my God.
And didn't know.
Was it at night? No,
it was in the day. Or evening. It was in the evening. So yeah, it's even like, do ghosts come out at night? No, they're around all the time. He was eating probably like dinner or supper in the family room watching TV. So he must have had it like on a tray or something. Mm-hmm, and he's finishing and he's taking it up into the kitchen. But if you've been around kids, or at least young boys, when they're watching TV, they kind of become fixated, right? Like zombies looking at the TV, and they trance out. Yeah. So he's doing that, but he said out of the corner of his eye, he saw someone with striped socks come up beside him and pick up the table, like the tray, as if they were going to like put it away.
Like move it or put it away. Yeah.
And what was definitive about it is that he said he was a man and he had striped socks. And he didn't know that my mom said that there was a ghost in the house that had striped socks. And when he turned his head fully, it vanished, obviously. So yeah, but I've not seen him. I've not seen this ghost. But
do you feel like do you sometimes walk into a room and like maybe you get goosebumps for no reason, or you walk, I don't know, into different parts of your mom's house and you just feel like I'm not the only one in this room?
Yes, I used to get that in my room in that house. There used to be there's a lot of noises usually. I'm pretty sure my grandmother's spirit is still there walking around in the living room, because when I do visit and sleep in the basement, the room is right above the living room, and it sounds like somebody's walking up and down all night.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess when you feel like they're familiar, they're less scary. You hear people walking. We would get a lot of smells in the house, like tobacco smoke, like tobacco pipe, which is distinct, right? We would get that a lot in the house. And yeah, and then of course I've had two ghost experiences. One at the place that we used to work at, and then and then the other one being in my bedroom in that house, of like somebody climbing into bed with me. Yeah. Right?
No. Like, check. I'm done. This episode's over. Thanks for joining, everyone. Sarah's done.
Yeah. The work one is scarier.
Okay, share.
When I first started,
high level.
Yeah.
Tell us.
When we first started, when we were in a different building, so you didn't work there yet. The office space, kind of based on where it was located, was kind of in a basement. It kind of gave a bunker feel. So the walls and stuff and everything was like concrete and cement. So there's not a lot of opportunity for there to be carrying of voices or anything like that, just based on how it's structured. We didn't share the space with anybody. It was pretty desolate. When I first started, I was sitting in a cubicle, and I was on the phone one day, and I'm on the phone talking to somebody, like a colleague, and then it basically was like somebody came up behind me to my other ear that wasn't on the phone and laughed in my ear. So much so, the laugh was so distinct, and I still hadn't made friends there for that to be something somebody would do. I spun around in my chair because it took me so off guard, and there was nobody there. Come to find out from the team members, my team members at the time, the girl who sat in that cubicle before me had died of a brain tumor. God. And the thing about her that made her so, eccentric was that she had a distinctive laugh. Drops mic. Ghosts proven.
Truly. And like, I know exactly where you're, like the office where we were before. I know exactly where you're talking about. And that place is creepy even on a good day.
Yeah, it is. At night when you're there
alone.
So
that is terrible. That's terrible.
To make it a little more innocent, I guess, and less frightening, as a kid, did you think there was a witch under your bed?
A witch?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
I thought the boogeyman was underneath my bed because I watched the Scary Movie and other things. But I definitely believe in ghosts. Good, bad, good spirits, good ghosts. Bad. Oh, I believe in everything. I have had one.
Ooh, please. Yes.
When I was probably in elementary school. And then again, I feel like I just try to if I feel anything, I just try to ignore it to this day.
You're like my dad.
Like if I walk into a room and I'm like, all right. In my mind, I don't feel like I'm the only person in this room. And I'll just try to ignore it. Because I don't like confrontation. If you're here, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave the room. You can stay in here.
Let you do you,
or whatever.
boo.
Exactly. I won't bother you. You don't bother me. We're good. No, when I was young, when I was in elementary school, I'm not even sure where my parents were. That's the 90s and early 2000s for you. They were out. They were somewhere. I was by myself at home, and it was summertime. So I walked to my parents' bedroom because, they had one of the landline phones there. And I wanted to call a friend down the street to play outside. So I pick up the phone, and usually when you pick up a landline phone, you hear the dial tone. The dial tone. And then you dial the number. I pick up the phone, and I hear a little girl singing.
What? That creeped me out a bit.
And in my mind, I'm like, I'm the only one in this house.
Right.
Where is this coming from? So I probably listened to her creepy singing 6 seconds. And then I say, hello? And she goes, you can hear me?
Shut up right now,
And
Sarah.
I slammed the phone down, ran down the hall, ran down the stairs, and ran to my friend's house. Because, are you in my house? What's going on? Nope.
Interesting.
Terrified.
That sounds very interdimensional.
Yeah. Like, I have goosebumps literally just talking about it.
Like, I have to forget about that before I go to bed tonight. Because sometimes my mind races and I think about, little ghosts at the foot of my bed at night. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I live alone. I need to stop with the madness.
Yeah. So that freaked me out. But I do believe in ghosts. Like, I'm sure they're walking, they're in my house, they're just hanging out, they're at different places. That's fine. Just don't bother me or my kid. And I won't bother you.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm good with the good ghosts. It's like demons and stuff that I don't mess with, which brings me, I think, to my next question. Do you F with Ouija boards?
Oh my gosh. I was going to ask you. Like, I feel like teenage Sarah, maybe 20-year-old Sarah would be like, oh my God, yeah, let's totally do it tonight at a sleepover. But Sarah now is like, no way.
Never effed with them, never will. I don't know if at a birthday party, because sleepovers were a thing, I guess, as you got a little bit older as a girl,
yeah,
or even as a young kid, sleepovers were a thing. and anyhow they made any mention before that party that they were going to pull out a Ouija board, I would tell them outright, like, if that's a thing you guys are going to do, I am not coming. I am not going to be anywhere near a Ouija board. And I don't know why I have such a strong aversion. It's not even like my mom said, don't mess with those Ouija boards, Krista. But I'm just like, I am not inviting anything into my space unwanted that I have no idea what it is or what it's about. I'm not messing with that at all.
Valid. That's valid.
Did you do, I think it's called like Bloody Mary or something, where you're supposed to like turn off the lights in the bathroom?
No.
And yeah, it's like Candyman shit, right? Like, I'm not doing any of that.
I'm not doing that. No, I feel like potentially people did at sleepovers, but I was like, I am not. I'm the biggest chicken ever. I am not doing that. No,
Nope.
Thank you. Even like walking through cemeteries, whether it's during the day or at night, freaks the shit out of me.
I'm pretty positive one of my school trips, we went somewhere, you know, they like to do like historic site visits of stuff. And at the end of the trip, one of the activities we had was to go around in a cemetery and find the grave sites of these different significant people. It was a scavenger hunt in the cemetery. And they're like, okay, guys, we're going to be in a cemetery. Don't run. But here, find these tombs of these people. Find this tomb.
That's like a low budget field trip.
And morbid AF. Like, I'm going to go find little Isabella who died of scurvy at 6 months. I'm going to go around looking for her tombstone. First off,
oh my God, no.
Were tombstones cheap back then? Because it is very expensive to die in Canada, by the way. That stuff is not cheap.
True.
But also, like, why? I'm not.
Also, like, I've seen, like, the TikToks. I don't know what it's called, but they, like, drive around in their car and they have, like, the ghost, I don't know what they're called, like, machines or things. And they drive around in their car in the cemeteries. And then they, like, see if they can, like, I don't know, see the ghosts or, like, talk to the ghosts in the cemetery. I'm just like, oh, like, the ghost, I don't know, whisper her, watch her, I don't know, find her. That creeps me out.
Like, their little frequency machines to, like, detect if there's activity.
Yes.
And then they have that other sound machine that's supposed to, like, pick up the frequency of their noises. Yeah.
Or even, like, in Teslas, like, sometimes, like, on the car, like on the car, like, someone will be walking by, but, like, there'll be no one in front of you.
Oh, you mean when it captures the video of someone, like, a pedestrian when there's literally no one?
Yeah, so they stop, so the car stops or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's no one there. Creepy.
Right?
Creepy.
Like, what are you even seeing that you're picking up on that field? Yeah.
Exactly. Do you believe in if you wake up at, like, the same time in the middle of the night multiple times, someone is trying to tell you something? I think they're called, like, angel numbers, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, I'm all about angel numbers. Angel numbers would be like repeating numbers that you constantly see all the time, I think is what you're talking about. So 1111 is one. I see 1111 every day. One that happens to me a lot is 444. So yes, I do believe that they're trying to tell you something. You can actually look that up on, like, Google of, like, angel number, whatever.
Yeah. I believe in that too. When I was younger, I feel like I always woke up at, like, 333, and I feel like that's really bad. And I always was like, no, don't open your eyes, don't open your eyes, don't open your eyes. And I tried to wait because I was so terrified.
Interesting. I don't think 333 is a bad angel number, but I think that kind of overlaps into, if you wake up between 3 and 4, they call it the witching hour. So maybe that was terrifying you, is that you're most likely to encounter someone from a realm between the hours of 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Which terrified me when I was on a trip in Cabo in Mexico, because I was, and my roommate at the time, were terrified in the room that we're in because we couldn't go to sleep between those hours because we felt like there was something in the room with us.
Oh my God.
In a different country.
Oh my God. No.
I do want to throw out a stat to give us some validation, though, that recent studies, because this is a BBC article that I'm pulling it from, 3/4 of Americans actually believe in the paranormal in some form, and 1 in 5 claim to actually have seen a ghost. So that's 20%, 1 in 5. So we are part of that 20% that actually believe in something else existing. How can it not? Everything's made up of energy. You can't tell me again that this is it. We're it. Exactly. This is it. It seems it's very anticlimactic.
Yeah. I did some research too on, like, haunted places, just specifically in Canada, and in Toronto too. And there are some. So if you're located in Toronto, you might know of the Fairmont Royal York Hotel in downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
Lots of ghost encounters there. And I have stayed there on multiple occasions. And it definitely gives you a creepy vibe.
Huh.
I found.
I did not.
Because it's old.
Yeah, it's very old.
It's definitely royal-like, but it's definitely old.
Yes, they've done their best to maintain the original architecture, and I wouldn't say furniture, but the essence of the furniture remains very nostalgic.
It's kind of chilling in a way almost. So that there was lots of ghost encounters in there, so that's fun. Also in Toronto, the Keg Mansion, there's been a few ghost encounters as well of the staff that has worked there. So been there too. Love that. Didn't see anything, thank God. And then I would say like the number one specifically in Canada is in Alberta. It's the Fairmont Banff Springs. There's been a ton of ghost encounters. Lots of young brides and like bellmen.
I think I've heard about the bellman one, that they've had the actual interaction with the bellman who helped them find something or directed them somewhere.
Oh my God.
And then when they talk about it after, they're like, yeah, that's not a real person.
That's a ghost. That was just being helpful. Great. Awesome.
I would question everything if I had that type of encounter. Then I will add to the list that there are ghosts in the Rogers Center, formerly known as the Sky Dome.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's an old building. It's an old thing. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure people have died there. 100%.
Yes. I know at least of one because of the architecture of how you get from, I guess, what's it called? Not floor, but row to row. There's so many rows. There are these long ramps that take you on the back end up through all the different sections. And someone fell from, I think, like the 500 levels down, and it's all concrete again. So, I don't know if that ghost still lives in there or what, but yes. My sighting or my interaction with the ghost when I was on the phone was at Rogers Center. So, confirmed.
Awesome. Confirmed. I also feel like another one, it's not in Canada. It's in Hollywood. Is the Hotel Roosevelt.
I stayed there. Did you stay there?
No, because I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to stay at the hotel that's farther so I don't get creeped out by myself at night. That's literally the reason why I didn't choose that hotel.
So you stayed at Lowe's?
Yes.
I stayed at Lowe's. I stayed at the Roosevelt. And there is energy there that for the week or 4 days that I was there, I slept with the lights on every night because of how strong the energy was. It terrified me at night.
Oh my God.
So I would sleep under the blanket. Yeah. And the doors aren't very sturdy either. And you can hear everything in the hallways. So it's just a matter of like being terrified, waiting for that push lock to unlock at night and the door open.
No, that's literally the reason. They're like, where do you want to stay? I'm like, not there. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot. I had to go to LA for work, and there was a ton of ghost stories from that hotel. So thank God I didn't stay there.
Makes the commute to work so much easier, though.
I know. It's okay. I can walk an extra 10 minutes. My goodness.
Yeah, and stop off at the mall right beside the Lowe's. And,
exactly.
Depending on the timing, catch a Jimmy Kimmel show, of course.
Exactly. That's fun.
Would you, depending on your age today, or maybe when you're younger and a little more stupid, would you have stayed in like a known haunted structure, like a mental hospital or a hospital, if they paid you like $1 billion?
If they pay me $1 billion, sure. But
good for you.
I wouldn't. No. Like, I'm terrified on a good day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to go to, like, around Halloween when they have, like, the haunted, like, mazes and haunted, like, houses and everything. I'm just like, pass. Like, nope. I don't want you to scare me. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Meanwhile, I'm, like, running towards any scary possible thing that I can find to, like, watch.
Exactly. I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, where's the comedies?
So taking it into a darker religious place then, and I'll go back to like, would you stay in a haunted place? Do you believe in like exorcisms and possession of people by like demonic forces?
Yes, although I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, right?
A lot. Yeah, and I maybe don't really want to think about it a lot.
Yeah, It's like you might as well just be thinking about that other religion that starts with a S and ends in an ology that I don't like talking about either.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe in evil forces and spirit. So, like, if you want to call it a demon, call it a demon. But I'm not. That's where the Ouija board comes into play for me.
Yeah.
It's like the key to the dark world.
Yeah. Valid.
But going back to, like, haunted place, I would, like, negotiate. I'd be like, can I maybe go on the day for, like, $500,000?
Trying to negotiate. Yeah. Valid. I say I do it for $1 billion. I would just cry in the corner the whole night. I would just cry.
When I get really scared or uncomfortable, which doesn't happen as much now as it did when I was younger, I like go into like this nervous laughter.
Yeah.
Where I'm laughing hysterically and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm terrified of roller coasters. And the last time I remember going to Wonderland, like every ride, I'd be like laughing so hard I would be crying. But it was because I was so scared that I didn't even know how to have a proper emotion.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't think it's paranormal, but maybe it's under the umbrella, maybe a little bit. Is like, do you believe in like aliens and UFOs?
I do, with the very ignorant argument of like, if we always, from a scientific perspective, talk about the universe and its vastness and it's infinite, and I'm using the wrong terms because I'm not a scientist, but the aspect of whatever is not earthly is vast and huge and, you know, transcends time. How can we be the only ones? Like,
exactly.
How? And how can that be if I'm accepting the idea that I believe that there's different dimensions and like life after death and we're living in these parallel universes? I'm like, how can that not be somewhere? Like, there's this whole thing that was created, but somehow created. Saturn and Jupiter are just there, just hanging out. Like, what's it for? Just to study? Like, there's something else going on. There has to be.
Totally. There has to be.
Otherwise, what are we doing? We're the characters in somebody's play, and it's really boring. Spend a lot on these sets and these props that aren't being used, my friend.
Yep.
Have you heard of the Dybbuk box?
No, what's that?
It's, I forget what museum holds it. And it's actually related to, I didn't know it was related to Jewish folklore. I only knew about the box existing. But it's this, this entity. The Dybbuk is supposed to be like this evil entity that inhabits something. And it happens to be inhabited in this particular box that's stored in this particular museum. And anything, they say like it's so evil and malicious that you shouldn't even touch it.
Oh my God.
And I only knew about that. It's supposed to be a malicious, possessing spirit believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person.
Great.
And what had happened with it? Years ago, the music artist Post Malone had went on he was a big ghost hunter, I think, at one point. And he went to this museum with this other ghost hunter with the box. So the other ghost hunter guy is like, I want to mess with the box. This is what I do. This is my job. And then I think Post Malone was like, don't F with the box. The guy goes to touch the box, and I think Post Malone touches him to be like, don't touch it. And then shortly thereafter, Post Malone was in a very significant car wreck, and his car was totaled. He was in a private plane where the landing gears wouldn't open, so then he was there's a risk of crashing because there wasn't a way to safely land. And I mean, I would like to think after that he didn't F with the Dybbuk box, but yeah, the whole idea is that touching it or being near this evil will beget something evil and malicious happening to you.
Why isn't that thing behind glass, metal, bars, etc.?
I think it is in a glass case. Now, whether or not the glass case is easily maneuvered to be opened is another thing, but it's there on display. And I guess nobody's legally required to prevent you from your own bad luck or bad choices. But, it's like I guess you never watched the movie Annabelle.
Nope.
About the doll?
Nope.
The doll really exists too. It's about a doll that's possessed.
Great. Yeah, well, I saw the movie. I watched scary movies when I was in high school.
Best time.
And then after that, I was like, nope. I have too many nightmares. I can't sleep. I'm done with watching scary movies ever again. I watched Amityville Horror. Amityville Horror.
Ryan Reynolds one?
Unsure. Don't know. Don't remember. But I feel like that was potentially based. I feel like potentially that was based on a maybe like true events ish.
Right.
Yeah, that's freaks the shit out of me.
It's one of the reasons why if I ever get to the point where I can buy a house, I'm not going old. Even in a workplace environment where they're like, it's so cool, we're in this old building that's been around forever. I'm like, nah. I want new. I don't want to hear squeaky floors. I don't need exposed brick because I don't want anything that has been living here with energies for years and years and years. I don't want any. I want brand new. I want it to be blessed by a priest. I want to sage it.
But I also feel like when you're specifically when you're looking for houses, you walk into a house, sometimes you can feel like the vibe of the house, and like you're like okay, this is good. Like, cause my house is, I don't even know, 30 years old.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. But I walked in and I was like, oh, this feels like a good house. I never thought like, I wonder if anyone died here. No. Don't want to think about that. I also feel like potentially in Canada you have to state that. Maybe?
I don't know if you have to disclose it.
Okay, let's pretend that you have to, because that freaks me out. No, but I've never got any like weird things from my house. Thank God.
That's good. I will say I don't think you have to disclose it because the neighbor of my mom's house died, I think, maybe 10 years ago, and their house got put up for sale. And we know as the neighbors that it's because he died, right? But nobody else knows. So we just go in there as regular people for an open house to like look around, because obviously it's a house on the street, and see what it looks like. And they never, I mean, I don't know at what point they get into that conversation, but it's not like they said, it's important that somebody passed away here. They never told us that. We just knew.
Well, maybe it depends on how it happened.
Right.
If it was like old age, it's like, oh, well, that's fine. But if it was like, it was a gruesome murder.
It wasn't old age.
Right?
He was morbidly obese, and I think it was like a week before they found him.
Ah, okay.
Ugh. Yeah, he was very big, a very big man.
Gotcha. But I feel like, any place you go to, you can kind of feel, I don't know, like you get chills, or you feel the vibe of the structure, the atmosphere of the place, and you're like, okay, this is a happy place, this is a good place. Or sometimes you get like chills right away and you're like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna turn around, go somewhere else.
I absolutely agree. It's all about like the vibes, right? As the kids would
exactly
say. But some people don't feel any vibes, even with people. Like, you could get those same vibes from people. Have you ever gotten a vibe from a person?
100%.
That reminds me of something.
How do you not get vibes from people?
I don't know, these people.
Whether I'm on the phone with somebody or like talking to somebody, or even through emails, you get vibes from people, like.
When I was a teenager and I was meeting up with my friend at like the bus station to like go to the mall, because that's what you did back in my time, there was this lady that was sitting beside me, this elderly lady, and she just turns to me. I hadn't talked to her or anything, and in those days, and even today, I don't look approachable, so it's always like, why are you talking to me? I'm usually stuck in my own thoughts. And she just turns to me and she goes, dear, God is always around no matter what, even when you can't see him. Like, just because you're not talking to him doesn't mean he's around. He's just like a light. Just the electricity is there, but just because the light isn't on doesn't mean the electricity isn't there. And I'm like, okay. Like, she's telling me like I had said to her, I'm very worried and I feel alone, and that was her like advice to me.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I was like, okay, maybe she's just, very religious and wants to like share the word of the Lord with everybody that she sees. But then I see her randomly on a walk with my friend, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks later, and she looks at me in a way that's like she recognized me from before. And then I like dashed because I did not want another conversation with her because it freaked me out.
Yeah, creepy vibes.
I was like,
sorry.
Right? I don't know if you're an angel or a demon. Like, stop.
Exactly. Even if a stranger talks to me on the GO train, I'm just like, okay, avoid eye contact. Stop talking to me. Put my earphones in. Like, right? No.
Let's normalize the signal for don't talk to me is earphones are in. Please do not speak
to me. Exactly. Oh my gosh. That's too funny.
What will you tell, I'm taking it in a little bit of a different direction, but like, what will you tell or not tell your son about like ghosts? Like, will you acknowledge that they exist? If he says, Mommy, there's something in my room, like, are you going to freak out? Because they say that boys are more likely to sense ghosts than girls.
And the reason why obviously this is an audio platform, I am literally smiling right now because I've had an situation already. And my son just turned 3. We were in my room. I was, getting ready, or I think I was like getting out of bed. So it was still dark. And he looks into the corner of my bedroom.
Always a corner.
And then he points. He goes, "Mommy, look, ghost." And I say, "What?" "Mommy, ghost." And I said, "Is there a ghost there?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh.
What does it look like?
Is it a friendly ghost?" And he goes, "Yeah."
And you're like,
"Okay, that's great. Well, let's go downstairs. Can you say goodbye to the ghost?" "Bye, ghost." And then we left.
and then you left him with his dad while you changed your pants because you had shit them.
I was by myself. My husband was at work. It was just me alone, darkness in the house. It was probably 5 a.m. or something stupid like that. And he told me, "Mommy, look, there's a ghost." And I was like, "What?" But in that situation, I don't want to scare him.
Of course.
I have to pretend I'm not scared. So you just kind of play it off like, "Oh, okay, great." Also, how the heck do you know what ghosts are?
Because babies be knowing.
I know.
That's valid. All of my sister's kids, it's always a corner of a room. All of my sister's kids as babies would always be staring into the same corner of the room. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what is it? What is over there?
Yep.
Anytime my nephew said anything to me that remotely suggested that there's a ghost or something in the room, I'd be like, okay, well, let the ghost know Auntie doesn't play around with this kind of stuff. They're not welcome and they need to leave immediately because they're not invited.
And then did they tell the ghost that?
Well, I mean, if they did, they didn't vocalize it to me, but it's just like, you can tell them now or later, but I just want it to be known to whoever's out here.
Exactly.
You are not welcome.
Don't fuck with me. Totally. Oh, so creepy.
Did you ever have your house blessed or saged then? Since your house is old, did you think about that in purchasing? You're like, nah, I'm gonna raw dog it.
Because again, if I had a different vibe when I bought the house,
your spiritual
I would maybe
compass
do
was
something.
like, this is fine.
Yeah, this is good. It's a family house. I feel good. I don't feel any, creepiness or anything like that. No, all good.
Would you consider that if you moved, doing that into a new house?
I think it depends what the vibe is, and I don't know if I would buy a house if I had a creepy or weird vibe to it.
Yeah, I guess if you're feeling like vibes that are off, you're just like, no.
Exactly.
You can make it
exactly.
You can make the whole house made out of marble. I'm not messing with Casper. We're not doing that.
No, exactly. You were here first. I'll just leave. Don't worry about it.
Did you have any
exactly
fears as a kid that were like abnormal because you just were like terrified of something and you didn't know why, but you just had this like thing that you couldn't describe where it's like, this freaks me out? Like for me, foot over the bed. Even like as a kid, I would never have my foot dangling over because the witch under the bed would get it. For my sister, there was a lion in the closet, but it was like an irrational fear.
Yeah. I think because I watched The Boogeyman and probably a few other scary movies, I had to check underneath my bed and in my closet every single night before going to bed. Ooh. And I couldn't have anything over the bed in the middle of the night either, just in case. God forbid.
I used to have a poster of Michael Jackson's Thriller over my bed at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Even though, and I'm aging myself, I was a child when that music video came out, and it was at my house, and we were watching it for the first time, and me and my cousin, it was a sleepover, so my cousins were over. My cousins are 2 boys, but me and my cousin are the same age, and we watched it, and we were so terrified from the video as children, based on them being monsters, that we were crying to go to bed because it was so scary.
Oh my God.
But obviously, if you want to put the poster above my bed where I can't see it, it's not terrifying, apparently, because that will scare away all the other monsters. Like, it makes no sense.
Right. That's funny.
And you look back at it now and you're like, this is what scared me? Like,
I know, 100%.
What a little bitch.
That is valid. That's valid. A lot more real, scarier. Well, ghosts are real. but a lot more scarier things out there.
Have you ever seen an alien then, since we're talking so heavily about ghosts? Anything weird, UFO-like?
No, but I feel like people in the world have seen things and captured things on video or pictures. And I watch it and I view it, and you have to take it with a grain of salt because potentially there might be editing involved with it or whatever. So yeah, I believe that there's stuff out there and there's aliens, but I have not seen anything with my own eyes.
Same. I would say I have an irrational fear though that like I don't want to be abducted by aliens. Like I do feel like if I stumbled upon one day, that I would be very terrified.
I think anyone would be.
There is a Canadian former like politician, like a member of parliament, who had said there was like classified files that said that there are aliens that walk among us. Do you remember that?
No.
He had said that there are two different kinds of ghosts, or not ghosts, aliens or unidentified creatures that are walking among us. And I'm just going to do a quick Google. He called...
Like to this day, walking among us like right now, pretending that they're humans?
Yeah. It was an ex-defense minister for Canada, Paul Hellyer. And he said there was one called like the tall whites. They're tall and thin and white. They live among us. And then there's another kind.
They're probably getting intel to bring back to their planet to tell them what the heck we're doing wrong and everything.
Yeah. So it's scary because he was a defense minister for Canada. So he would be subject to those type of classified files. So for him to say yes, I just...
A little creepy.
Yeah. And I do feel to an extent that we don't know everything, obviously, in the government, and every governing body does hide certain pieces of information, whether it's for our safety or for whatever. Like, I don't think we have the full truth about anything.
Yeah, 100%.
And they're...
I don't not believe that. I believe that for sure.
It's like, so can I get like a Marian alien? Because they seem to be a little bit advanced.
Valid. And then there's also in the States, there's like Area 51.
Right.
That like has like high security. The Air Force is there, whatever, because they think there's aliens, or I don't know. And it's like heavily guarded and people can't get in there. So I'm like, okay, okay, great, awesome. So there's definitely something out there.
Elon Musk, who runs SpaceX, who does a lot of obviously space exploration and launches, he's been asked numerous times in like podcasts if he believes in aliens, and he said that he has not seen any evidence to suggest that. But granted, I mean, he doesn't have clearance to everything, but I'm just like, how can there be nothing?
Yeah, valid. Yeah, agree.
Is it just invisible?
There has to be stuff out there. We'll find it in like 3,000 years.
Well, I won't be around.
I don't either. Is there anything else you want to add about our paranormal episode? I feel like we covered a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that we didn't dig into, and I think I'm okay not to, is like the dark part of the paranormal, where there's like dark occult demonic forces and Satan and stuff like that, and I don't want to mess with that. I think just talking about the Ouija board is enough.
Yeah, I don't want to bring anything into my space by talking about it. So yeah, I'm good.
Exactly. Adulthood is its own demon. I'm a spiritual warrior every day. Like, I don't need any more. Like, I'm good over here.
Exactly. Too funny. Well, I'm curious if our listeners have had any encounters with ghosts.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts? What's the story? Please let us know.
I love a good ghost story.
No. Me too. It creeps me out, but I do like it.
Yeah, in the daylight, I'm all about it. The campfire at night, no, not happening at all.
Valid. And if you like this episode, please rate us, do all the things, let us know how good we are, how bad we are.
We love to hear from you.
So we can improve. Absolutely.
All right, then. Until next week, girl.
Chat with you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.